What's going on, world? Welcome to Mind Over Minds, and today I'll be talking about my benefits while on semen retention. So let's just get right on into it. Now, when I first discovered semen retention, it was back in November of 2020. So at this time, it's just January of 2025, so 5 years ago, technically. And I was in my suggestions box, and I just seen a video by fellow YouTuber Dante Young, for those who don't know. I was watching one of his videos about the topic, and I didn't even know what it was myself prior to watching it. And so I did my own research, and that's when I discovered what the benefits that come with it, what it really meant, and how you can get a woman attraction and clarity, the timeline of like going from 2 days to 4 days to a week, etc. So that's when I really started to learn what it really entailed. So I challenged myself at that time because back then, prior to me discovering that, I was a frequent corn addict. I don't know if YouTube has certain guidelines saying the actual word, but I'm just saying like that, a corn addict. um, and I didn't grow up watching that. Previous to that, I just actually started stumbling on it, and I just became hooked from like the ages of 15, 16. So it was pretty recent at the time. And I just was just needing like another way to really like stop myself from doing it, because even at then I noticed how detrimental it was, because even though the pleasure was honestly good, it just felt like it felt weird to even watch it. You know, it felt weird to even like see that type of video, that type of content. I just, I need like some way to really um retain my not yeah retain, restrain, whatever, basically not do it at all at the time. So I challenged myself for a good week in 2020, and I only lasted for 2 days, and within those first 2 days it just all came to like a head. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know how intense it would have been, because I have a pretty high drive. I carry a lot of testosterone. So not doing it for 2 days was kind of like, oof, it was crucial. I'm not gonna lie. It was just like, I was having all types of sexual thoughts at the time. And, I did do it after 2 days. And I don't know, it's just I felt depleted afterwards after I did it. But the first 2 days when I just started to restrain myself, I just was like horny as hell. Well, I'm gonna just rephrase that. Now I'm gonna say that I peaked. I pretty much peaked at like that point. My peakage was, heightened. I'm gonna just leave it at that. And since then, since 2020, I was on and off it. I lasted from 6 days to a week to almost a week and a half. Like my longest streak, honestly, was 11 days, and that was way back in 2021, I believe. So the highest amount was like 5 to 6 days, but the highest I went out doing that was 11 days. So yeah, but let me just get right into like the good part about my journey so far. So I'm actually on it right now as I'm speaking. So I'm gonna talk about the good benefits that I've came across and what I learned while I was doing that for this past couple of years. The first thing I really did notice was, excuse me, I need to get a tissue. My bad, y'all. My nose is running. It's cold. Not in here, but like just outside. It's like I think 15 degrees out. It's freezing. But the first benefit that I noticed while being on semen retention was I had a lot of clarity. Like, I'm an overthinker. So when I really started to go on long streaks, I noticed a lot of like clarity. Like I could actually think. So anything that came to my mind, and if I was focused on a certain thing, I was like that. I was just, strong, really driven on that specific goal. And I noticed when I was having conversations or interacting with people in general, strangers even, I noticed I was more comfortable because I had severe social anxiety. So just approaching people I don't know like that, I'm not gonna lie, I was, it was awkward. Like I was like an awkward speaker. I just felt tense. I felt really, you know, like stiff. No pun intended, but I was like stiff around new people, and just being interacting with people in general. Like I just was not comfortable at it. But while I was on those long streaks, I was more laid back, easygoing, and just I felt comfortable, doing that. So that's why I did notice I had a lot of clarity. I was able to really have like I started to have like a long-term way of thinking. Like I can pretty much set realistic, clear goals when I'm doing those long streaks. So that's one benefit. The second benefit I noticed, I pretty much, my nose is running again. Hold on, y'all. The second benefit, I have a lot more confidence. Like, I already have a lot of confidence. I already have innate self-confidence with myself, but really, like, it was at like an overdrive when I was doing long streaks. Even when I was doing short streaks, I would say around 2022, after a while with being on the journey, it started to really settle in. So I was really like overtly confident in my abilities. So if I was confident about, what I was discussing with some people, or if I was bringing a type of presentation to the table at like a job or something, or even when I was in school at the time, I would be open to start a conversation and spearhead the conversation. Just having that overall confidence in myself, I was, that's one thing I noticed about it. Like, it was just an amazing thing, an amazing feeling, and I was more comfortable with, with that feeling. The third benefit that I noticed while on SR, besides having, the willpower to do things, was I felt a lot more stoic than I usually am, especially on like, I would say day 8, between day 8 to day 10, when it really starts to kick in. I felt a lot more stoic. Like, the term big D energy, that's what I was given. Like, that's what my aura, like my overall like presence, whenever people first come across me, approach me, whatever, it came across like that. Like I felt, like high status, the type of dudes where you see with like the nice suits and the slags, dress shoes, with like business-minded type of people, or the business-minded type of men in particular. Like I just gave off that type of energy. And showing stoicism is, definitely a good thing. You definitely will come across a lot of men, mostly what I come across in Boston in particular, who are more so like child-minded, like, just overall that show a lot of feminine traits, especially older men, because believe me, like the older men in general, when you're on retention for a long time, they be like oozing feminine traits. So when you do show that type of like masculine energy, it can definitely be a bit intimidating to some people, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. But just overall though, being on this journey, like especially showing those type of benefits, I'm not gonna lie, it's been like the best type of feeling that I felt in a long time. Like I feel alive. Why I keep stuttering? I feel alive. I feel like this is who I'm supposed to be. Like you definitely would demonstrate who you truly are. Like it'll definitely come out once the longer you retain, the longer you go. It definitely would show out who you truly are inside. And I definitely am showcasing that and living in that. Now let's get into, I'm fixing my lip balm, but let's get into the bad side of things, the bad side of retention. The first one is woman attraction. I'm not going to say this is necessarily a bad trait. It depends on who the man is. But me personally, I don't mind woman attraction, but too much woman attraction, it can get annoying after a while. For example, This was 2 years ago, and I was on I believe I was on day 10. I was on day 10, and I was just heading to my doctor's appointment, and I was going to the bus stop. I had this lady that just was just walking the street, mind her business. That she noticed me, and I was dressed in like this long brown coat with a brown beret, and I just had like, just my whole outfit was put together since it was like between fall and winter around this time. And then that's when she puts her hand on my back, and those cat claws where they do like this? She just did like one of this, but slowly all around my back. I turned my head, and I'm like, oh. And I'm not gonna lie, she was mad pretty, but it's just, stuff like that. It came out of nowhere. So that's one thing. And I did have a couple of women, even with children, that would just stare at me just out the whim. If I'm like in the corner somewhere on the bus, and this actually happened, if I'm on the bus somewhere and I see or I just peep a woman, or I feel like I'm being stared at by a woman, I would just look suddenly like this. And usually I do notice, or they usually are staring at you. This one girl in particular, I remember she had her kids with her, and then when she saw me, and I felt myself being watched, yeah, she was just staring at me the entire time on the whole bus ride like this. Like her mouth was drooling, eyes was just like gaze, like she was besotted at the sight of me. Like she was going to devour me just on that bus. That's how intense she was staring at me. So just stuff like that, it's just coming across that much female attraction. And I had older females, like mostly older females, usually would approach me just out the blue, just trying to really feel me out. I actually had this one lady, to mention this, I had this one lady at the corner store. She seen me as I was checking out, and she checked me out, and she was like, well, hello. Like, just literally, and I was the only one in the store besides the cashier, and she brought in her friend. And so I'm thinking she was talking to somebody in the back or to the guy. I'm like, you talking to me? So that's when she was just asking me questions, and I was like, just listening to her and letting her talk, and gave her just, a little conversation. And her friend basically was noticing I was smiling because, I was smiling, but it was more so like I was like nervously laughing. I'm like, what is going on? But then she was like, oh, you smell some good weed or something? I'm like, yo, just that whole interaction, it was hilarious. But overall, just the female attraction, yeah, it does come with the territory while being on this journey. Now, my second downside bad benefit, you're gonna have like frequent boners. I don't know if I can say that, but you're what God bless you down here is gonna be heightened like this. You're gonna have frequent stuff like that happening. Especially when you're around like really pretty women, or if you like the other side, attractive men, just overall, whatever you are attracted to, and you're around that frequently or just occasionally, oh, it's gonna come. It's definitely gonna come. It's definitely gonna, be showing. Especially if you go to the gym like I do, where I go to the gym like 3-4 days out of the week. And yeah, when I'm on long streets, it definitely does come. It definitely does show. So I tend to sit down most of the time, and if I'm standing, I try to like walk a little bit just around the area, so that way it'll just die down. But usually it'll definitely come to territory as well. Just the frequency of that, it will appear. But you just have to either take cold showers, which does help, especially early in the morning where you're just waking up. Taking like cold showers, I wouldn't say twice a day, if it's all up to you, but usually I like to do it once a day, preferably in the morning. So I take cold showers. I tend to drink a lot of water, cold water, and just all that fluctuates down my body overall. So it won't just be rushing down to that head, be all over me, from my head to my shoulders, my knees, toes, whatever you want to call it. Like, it'll definitely be like fluidly moving. So yeah, that's about it. Oh, another downside would be a lot of men that you may come across, co-workers or even family members or friends, either will be really competitive with you or jealous of you. At least from my experience, I had my fair share of men that I came across who were always like either had some sort of animosity towards me, and I didn't even do nothing to them. It could be as simple as scuffing their Nike Air Force, and they'll be all in a hissy fit talking about, you messed up my forces. Like, just simple things like that. Or it can just be somebody that you are talking to, like outside of work, for example, and the dude that either wants to compete with you or trying to compete for that position that you're already applying to or applying for, they'll definitely make it known or subtly make it known that, they're trying to one-up you. And they'll give out this condescending or snobbish way of expressing themselves whenever something good happens to you. They're trying to rain on your parade and basically not really be happy for you, but just wish ill on you, like subconsciously. And those are the type of interactions you really need to be careful for while on this journey, because it does happen, at least for what I know, it definitely does happen often. A quick story. I know I told a lot of stories in this video, which is probably why it's long, but you know what? I'm just gonna, mention it. And this actually happened the same time where I was telling y'all about the woman when she put her hands on my shoulder. This actually happened like immediately afterwards. So I was at that same bus stop, right? And heading to my doctor's appointment. This guy pulls up in his Mercedes Benz right in front of the bus stop. Then he hop out his car, parks his car right, in front of the bus stop, and then he just went to where I was sitting at, brushes past me first, like back and forth, and I moved back. He came closer, he did it again. So then he went and stood in front of his car, and I was looking at him like, what are you doing? And then he was, talking to me. He was like, so yo, you want to fight? You want to fight? I'm like, is he talking? Again, this is me. Like, if you're not saying my name specifically, I don't know who you're talking to. So I'm looking around because there's people standing there. I'm looking around. I'm like, is he talking to y'all or or what? Because I'm like, I don't know. But he didn't talk about how he didn't mention that. He's saying, I'm a F you up, bro. I'm F you up on everything, bro. He was going completely off. I'm like, I'm trying to take this in. I'm like, I don't even know you, sir. Like, what are you doing? What is going on? I didn't know what he was talking about. He was like, so what's up, bro? What's up? I'm like, oh my God, this is funny now I even mention this. Like, I was cracking up. I was really cracking up. And then the bus, the 23, if you from Boston, you know what I'm talking about. The 23 is always something. I don't know what it is about that transit line, but the 23 bus is always something. So I was heading up to the entrance, or like the rear door entrance, because it's free at the time. It still is free, but you can go on the rear door, the main door. But I went on the rear door entrance, right? As I was leaving from the bus stop. His car was parked right adjacent from the rear doors, so he was pretty close. So this man tries to follow me on the bus, stopping people even getting off the bus. I was trying to get on the bus. He stopped midway, like this, blocking the door. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, I don't even know you. I don't know what your problem is, bro. But I'm like, you need to back off. I didn't say like that, but I actually cussed, but it's YouTube. So I was like, you need to back the off, And then that's when he just followed me back to the front entrance. And so that's when I really started to get tight. So I took off my earrings. I took off my bag. Everything that was on me, I took off because I don't know what he was trying to do. So that's when he was still yelling and raving, like, pointing his finger towards me. And that's when the bus driver was trying to de-escalate the situation. So I just went on the bus, went to the back of the bus, because it was mostly packed in the front. And then I was just, was just kind of like perplexed on why all this has happened. Like what caused him to go off like that. But, to make a long story short, pretty much interactions or encounters like that, for me personally, did happen when I was on long streaks, because the men out here be like tripping about the littlest stuff. I had that happen to me. I remember one guy, he basically threatened to run me over with his car way back in 2022. Like June of 2022 was when he threatened me to do that. And then just a whole series of events, like not to that extent, but just minor altercations happened while I was on long streets, and always around day 5 to day 9. Like it's always around day 5 to day 9 where stuff like that always happens. I don't know what it is, but it'd be interesting to say the least. Sun kicking in, the skin is gleaming, you feel me? But needless to say though, I think semen retention is a great opportunity for guys to really practice and go longer streaks, even longer than I have. Just go up to like a year or however long they want to. You can definitely practice it, because you definitely would learn a lot about yourself, about how you interact with people. And it's just a real eye-opener to really understand the whole practice and the whole process and what it comes with it. So it definitely has its pros and cons. My pros and cons maybe not the same as your pros and cons, but it definitely has it. So if you like this video, make sure to comment down below your experience if you have done semen retention before. And I'll be open to listen to you guys' perspectives and read the comments and see what you guys, what you went through. And yeah, overall, this is pretty much it. I know this video is long as hell, but guess what? I'm only giving out insight and my experience, so at least that makes up for it. But yeah, so that's it for today's video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See y'all.